Oh, that is really funny. I'm still racking my brain. Why the other door is the same swing, why I put the 2-prong knuckles on the door frame rather than the 3s. I think it's just the way it came out of the package. I'm not quite sure how that happened. But it works, you know. These are light enough that you can just carry them pretty much like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's swivel it around into position. And I've got my hinge pin already. I'm just concentrating on the top one. I got my hand wrapped around the door, lifting it by the handle area. And I just want the top one. I don't care about the other ones. I have no care in the world what happens with those. And I'm just getting it in the top 2. That's it. Now I can reposition this and figure out about where it goes. This one's not going because it's hitting at the bottom. And before you start banging on the bottom one, you got to find out which way those knuckles need to go. Does the one on the door need to go slightly up, or does the one on the door frame need to come slightly down? So I'm going to look at that and make the determination. Sometimes it's kind of difficult to see. And it looks like I just have to slightly tap it down, I think. Yeah, see, just that much. Now it'll slide in. It'll slide in to position, and I wanna make sure I do the middle one first, and I've just got the top knuckles. Okay, I don't want to bang it down yet. Now I can do that. That one went right down in there, and now I know it's all lined up. And now I can just slightly tap on it. Okay, I'm just hitting the outside edge, and I'm not going to tap it all the way in just yet. Okay, before I took these doors off to paint them, I wanted to make sure that they were lined up, that the doors, any sagging doors were adjusted first and stuff. And if the gap was too big, I thought, okay, as long as the gap's too big, I might have to readjust certain doors after I put them back up, and I can do that after the doors have been painted. Okay, well, I'm looking at that, and that actually looks pretty good. And I'll do a once over on it. If anything, I've got a slightly bigger gap up at the top than I do anywhere else. And if I wanted to, I could take that top hinge. I could take the top hinge. I could unscrew this, and then I can pre-drill a hole right there in the wood behind this. Unscrew this, flop it over, pre-drill a little hole there, pre-drill a hole right in about there. You know, put 2 screws in, my sheetrock 1¼ screws, and screw those in. Let the head stick out just barely from the wood, and then I put that back in. Can you see that acts as a shim? And that would take this from nothing and would let this side stick out ever so little. Okay, and then I would screw this hinge back in, and there's my shims, those screws. And then as I close the door, see, that would cock this out at a slight angle, which then would mean this door would be pushed over at the top, and it would make this gap just a hair smaller, you know, if I wanted to do that. And I think I might see how the gap is there. That's a pretty good gap. And you know, the door would still close at this point, and it would still latch, and it would be fine. I'd take a look at this, see my gap here. See, that gap's about the same. So if I put those screws in there, that's actually going to be slightly bigger. And then when I look up at the top, when this moves, if this moves over, it's going to lower this down, this edge down, this edge over. Do you see? And it could, and that would be fine. So if that's something you want to do, see, I can do that adjustment now after the painting has been done. Do you see what I'm saying? And I could do that, or I could leave it. You choose. Okay. Well, there you go. Another door hung, ready for the doorknobs and ready for a slight adjustment if you choose. Now here's one more thing to consider. If you didn't see the last video I did, I just hung another door just like this in the guest room down there. I haven't put the doorknob on yet. I'll make a video of when I put the doorknob on. Okay, but you see how the door is just slightly rubbing on the carpet. I'm calling that good. I'm not going to mess with it. Okay. But if that was any harder than that, and if it was making a big old trail here, I'd have to make a decision about undercutting the door. And then you got to take the door down, take it outside, mark the bottom of the door, mark it, score it with a sheetrock knife, put some masking tape on the edge so that your saw table fence is not going to rub on the pre-finished, nicely painted door. And then you cut that off, bring it back in here, rasp off the edge all the way around, bring it back in here, and install it. You know, that's a video series in itself, how to undercut doors. You know, but this is just not enough for me to really be too concerned about. I don't think Momi's gonna care too much about that. But if it was making a big old mark all the time, then it might be something, yeah, I probably should shave it off. And so I'd probably shave that off. I could shave it off 1/4 inch, or you can leave a gap. Lots of times you look at your door between the bottom of your door and your carpet. Sometimes you may have a gap 1/2 inch, 3/4, even more than that sometimes. You know, depending who the last person was, what was on the floor last. If you replace your carpet and pad and you put down a hardwood floor or something, of course you're going to have a gap, because you're not going to have the sponge carpet pad underneath the carpet, and depending how thick your carpet is, you have all that down. And if you put a flooring that's only 5/16 or 3/8 thick, you know, hardwood floors or laminate floors or a vinyl flooring, planking, I would have a gap under there, wouldn't I? So you're going to have to decide for yourself, do I undercut the doors or not? You know what, for the sake of argument, I am going to undo that top hinge and put some screws, and I'll show you how that's done next.